My sister kicked me off the guest list for her 19th birthday because she says I'm not family. My parents thought I was just being dramatic. So, I stopped the party food and decided not to pay for her college. I left house with my belongings. The next day, when they realized how big a mistake they had made, they called me like crazy. My name is Emma. I'm 28 years old now. I have a good job, my own place, and enough money to live comfortably. But getting here wasn't easy. The journey was full of ups and downs. It all started when I was 16. That's when my mom passed away. My dad tried to stay strong, but I could tell he was struggling. Then less than a year later, he gave me some surprising news. "Emma, I'd like you to meet Janet," he said one night in the kitchen. He was standing next to a woman who looked only a little older than my cousin. "We're getting married." Janet was at least 16 years younger than my dad, and she had a daughter named Julie, who was 6 at the time. From the beginning, Janet didn't treat me well. She acted like I didn't belong in the house. She wouldn't even say hello when we passed in the hallway. And when I walked into a room, she'd start whispering to Dad. But Julie was different. She was full of energy and used to run into my room at all hours. "Emma, can we watch SpongeBob?" she'd ask, already jumping on my bed with her stuffed penguin. I loved those moments. I had always wanted a little sister, and for a while, it felt like maybe something good could come out of all this. But things changed. It started slowly. Julie stopped visiting me after school. Then, she made excuses when I asked if she wanted to hang out. One day, I heard Janet talking to her in the kitchen. "Honey, you don't need to spend so much time with Emma," Janet said in a sweet voice. "She's not really your sister. She's just your father's other daughter." That's when it all made sense. The way Janet acted, the way Julie was pulling away, it was all part of Janet's plan. She didn't want Julie to see me as her sister. And sadly, it was working. I stopped trying. What was the point? Every time Julie looked right through me at dinner or turned away in the hallway, it just hurt more. So instead, I focused on school. I studied hard. When I got a full scholarship to college, it felt like I was finally free. After college, my career took off quickly. Each year brought better jobs, bigger projects, and higher pay. I finally had the life I had always wanted: my own place, nice clothes, dinner at fancy restaurants, and weekend trips whenever I felt like it. No more counting every penny or wearing old clothes passed down from others. Then I got the phone call that changed everything. "Hi, Emma." It was my dad. His voice was soft, like he wasn't sure I'd even pick up. "How are you, sweetheart?" I almost dropped my coffee mug. We hadn't really spoken since I left for college. There were a few birthday texts or holiday cards, but that was it. I always had a feeling Janet was behind it. She always seemed to be around when Dad tried to call, and he'd hang up quickly with some excuse. "I've been thinking," he said when I didn't reply right away. "Maybe we can start fresh, leave the past behind. Come over for dinner this Thursday. Janet would love to see you too." That's when I knew something was off. Janet would love to see me? Really? But I was curious. So that Thursday, I drove over to their house. To my surprise, Janet opened the door with a big smile and even hugged me. "Emma, we've missed you so much." I stood there, stiff and confused. Was I dreaming? This was the same woman who once forgot to tell me that dinner time had changed, leaving me sitting alone at the table. But after that visit, I kept coming back. Every Thursday, we sat in the living room, making small talk about the weather or the local news. It was awkward, but it became a routine. Then, about a month later, the truth came out. "The thing is, Emma," my dad said one Thursday, staring into his coffee cup, "we're having some money problems." Janet jumped in right away. "The house needs a lot of work," she said in a sweet voice, "and the bills are getting out of control. We hate to ask, but at first, I helped with small things like the power bill. Then they asked for grocery money. After that, it was home repairs, first a water heater, then the roof, and later a new furnace. Each time they called, they asked for more money. But I kept helping. After all, they were family, right? The only thing that stayed the same through all of it was Julie. Now a teenager, she was the one steady part in this whole mess. While Dad and Janet had changed completely, Julie stayed the same. Cold and distant. During my visits, she would sit in the corner of the living room, slouched over with her face buried in her phone. She only looked up to give a quick, quiet hey if someone made her say hello. Sometimes I'd catch her watching me when she thought I wasn't looking. Her face had a strange look on it, not full of hate, but close. I told myself it was just the age gap. She was 18, I was 28. What teenager wants to spend time with their much older stepsister? Maybe if we were closer in age, things would be different. But deep down, I knew that wasn't the real reason. It was Janet. The little things she said and did over the years had built a wall between Julie and me, a wall too thick to break down with money or fake Thursday dinners. Then one Friday evening, while I was going through my mail, my phone rang. It was Janet. Seeing her name usually meant they needed money again, so I took a deep breath before answering. "Emma, we're planning something special," Janet said, her voice full of excitement. "Julie's turning 19 next month, and we want to make it perfect." Of course, they were short on money. I rubbed my forehead, already feeling a headache. "What kind of party are you thinking about?" I asked. "Nothing too big," Janet said quickly. "Just a nice backyard party. Good food, pretty decorations, all her friends. We just want it to be special." I found myself nodding, even though I was unsure. Maybe this could be a chance to finally connect with Julie. Turning 19 was a big moment. I still remembered my own 19th birthday. It was small, just a few friends at a local pizza place. "What do you need help with exactly?" I asked, already opening my laptop. "Well," Janet said, sounding unsure. "The biggest cost is food and drinks. We want to make sure there's enough for everyone. And you know how teens eat." I pulled up a website for a local catering company I'd used for work. "I can take care of the catering," I offered. "They're really good appetizers, full meals, drinks, and their cakes are amazing." I spent the next hour picking out food and planning the menu, all while picturing Julie's face when she saw it. Maybe, just maybe, this would be the thing that finally helped break the ice between us. I even started to feel a little excited about planning the party. But a few days later, Dad called again. "Emma, honey, there's something else we need to talk about," he said, his voice serious. "It's about the future." I sat down in my favorite chair, knowing this wouldn't be a short chat. "What about it?" I asked. "Well, Julie's graduating from high school soon and she wants to go to college," he said. He paused before continuing. "You know how important school is." And, as her sister, I knew where this was going before he even said it. But to my surprise, I didn't feel the usual frustration I felt when they asked for money. Instead, I started thinking seriously about it. "How much would college cost?" I asked. "Well, we were looking at State University," he said and started listing numbers. But I was already thinking ahead. That night, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine, going over everything. State University was a good school and not too expensive. I could pay for it without hurting my budget too much. And maybe, just maybe, this could be the thing that finally made Julie see me as part of her family. Right then and there, I made up my mind. I'd announced my gift at her birthday party. I was going to pay for her college education. Over the next few days, I finished the party plans, picked out the perfect cake, and wrote a short speech for the big moment. Then 3 days before the party, my phone rang. I was double-checking the catering order when I saw Julie's name on the screen. My heart actually skipped. I couldn't believe she was calling me. "Hey, Julie," I said, smiling. "I was just going over some party details." "Yeah, about that." She cut in, her voice cold and distant. "I'm looking at the guest list. Mom and Dad invited way too many people, so I'm cutting it down." There was a short pause. "I'm cutting you from the list too." Her words hit me like a punch. I pulled the phone away and looked at it. Sure, I'd heard her wrong. I said quietly, "Julie, I don't understand. I'm your sister." She laughed. It was sharp and bitter. "No, you're not. That's the point," she said. "This party is for close friends and real family. You're neither. I never saw you as a sister. You were just there. Some girl living in our house." I grabbed the edge of the counter, my knuckles turning white. The room felt like it was spinning. "Oh, and by the way," she added, her voice smug, "if you already got me a gift or something, just send it over. A courier or whatever is fine." Then she hung up. I sat there for what felt like forever, staring at nothing. My phone was still in my hand, shaking slightly. Then I did something. I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my dad crying. "Dad," I said, my voice shaking, "did you know about this? Did you know Julie was uninviting me from her party?" He sighed like I was a little kid complaining about something small. "Oh, honey, don't take it so personally," he said. "You know how teenagers are. You're older, smarter. Family helps family." "Family," I said, my voice rising. "Julie just told me I'm not family." Suddenly, Janet jumped in. Her voice was sharp and clear. "Now listen here, Emma. You're successful. You have money. It's your job to help us. We are your family, whether Julie wants you at her party or not." I opened my mouth to answer, but the call cut off. Janet had hung up on me. I sat in the kitchen, surrounded by party notes and catering menus, feeling like a complete fool. I'd been writing checks, hoping to earn a place in their hearts. But now I saw the truth. They didn't see me as family at all. I was just someone with money, an ATM on legs. I wasn't even worth an invite to the party I was paying for. The laptop screen dimmed and went black, but I didn't move. I just stared at my reflection in the dark screen. Behind me, I saw the corkboard where I'd pinned Julie's college acceptance letter, the one I planned to show her when I announced I'd pay for her tuition. I reached for the caterer's number, then paused. Part of me said canceling now would be a waste of money. They'd already bought the food and started getting everything ready. But then another idea came to me, and for the first time in hours, I smiled. When someone at the catering company picked up, I said, "Hi. This is Emma Mitchell. I need to change the delivery address for this Sunday's order." There was a pause. "To where?" they asked. "To the Hope Harbor shelter downtown," I said, pulling up the address on my phone. "Just deliver everything there. Don't change a thing. Appetizers, main dishes, desserts, and especially that 4-tier cake. Everything goes to the shelter." They confirmed the new delivery details. After I hung up, I felt lighter. The tight feeling in my chest was gone. I didn't even feel guilty. Wasn't this what Julie wanted? No stepsister at her party, no connection. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, Julie's birthday, the sun was shining. I was enjoying my second cup of coffee when my phone rang. Janet's name lit up the screen. I answered and she didn't even say hello. She was already yelling. "Where's the catering?" she shrieked. "They were supposed to be here an hour ago. If this is your idea of a joke." "Oh, the catering?" I said calmly. I kept my voice calm and casual. "Don't bother waiting. Everything's already been delivered to the Hope Harbor shelter. I'm sure they're enjoying it right now." There was silence on the other end. "You what?" Janet's voice was low and angry. "Well," I said, stirring my coffee, "since I'm not family enough to be invited to the party, I figured I shouldn't force my gift on you either. Julie made it clear she only wants close family and friends there. And as her dad kindly reminded me, I should respect her wishes." "You spiteful little," Janet's voice shot up to a scream. "You've ruined everything. The guests will be here in 3 hours." In the background, I heard Julie start to panic. "Mom, what's going on? Where's the food? Maybe you can order pizza," I said with a cheerful tone. That's what non-family members would do. Right? I could hear Julie crying louder with doors slamming and feet stomping in the background. Just picturing her throwing a tantrum made me smile even more. "You've ruined her birthday," Janet cried. "Her special day." "No, Janet," I said calmly. "Julie ruined it herself when she decided to treat the person paying for everything like a nobody. I just helped her learn a lesson." Then I hung up the phone, set it to do not disturb, and took another sip of my coffee. It somehow tasted sweeter than usual. Across town, 300 people at the Hope Harbor shelter were about to enjoy the best meal they'd had in a long time. Appetizers, main dishes, desserts, and a beautiful 4-tier birthday cake. And somewhere else, my lovely stepsister was learning that actions have consequences. A few days later, I started hearing stories about the party. My friend Lauren called first. Her cousin went to school with Julie. "Oh my God, Emma," Lauren said, trying not to laugh. "It was a total disaster. You won't believe what happened." When the food never showed up, Janet panicked and ran to the grocery store. She bought sandwich stuff and tried to throw something together in the kitchen, but she didn't get nearly enough. Half the guests didn't even get to eat. I took a sip of wine, imagining Janet with her perfect nails, rushing around making sandwiches. "What about the cake?" I asked. "Even better," Lauren laughed. "She sent your dad to Danny's diner to grab whatever desserts they had left. He came back with a box of day-old donuts and a couple of sad-looking apple pies." I pictured the scene, people in the backyard holding paper plates with half a sandwich and a stale donut, confused and wondering what happened. "And Julie?" I asked. "Total meltdown," Lauren said. "Like, full-on screaming, crying, throwing gifts across the yard. Someone got hit in the shoulder with a Bath and Body Works gift set. The look on your stepmom's face when those lotions flew through the air. I lost it." She broke into giggles, and I was still smiling about it when my phone rang a few hours later. It was Dad. His voice had that fake calm tone, the one he used when he was trying not to sound angry. "Emma, honey, we need to talk about what happened," he said. "What you did, it really hurt your sister. But I understand why you did it, and I forgive you." I almost laughed out loud. "You forgive me?" "Yes," he said, sounding proud of himself. "It's water under the bridge now, but we need to talk about something more important, Julie's college education." And there it was, the real reason for his call. "Actually, Dad," I said, "there's nothing to talk about." I'm not paying for Julie's college. There was a long pause before he exploded. What do you mean you're not paying? You promised. You can't do this to your sister. My sister? I said, now laughing. You mean the one who told me I'm not family? The one who uninvited me from her party because I'm not a real relative. That was different, he said quickly. She was just emotional. Family helps family, Emma. You know that. That's exactly my point, Dad. Julie made it very clear. I'm not family. I'm just the person you call when you need money. Well, guess what? The ATM is closed. You're being ridiculous, he shouted. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done for me? I cut in, my voice sharp. Like what? Taking my money? Treating me like a stranger in my own home. I took a deep breath. No, Dad. I'm done. No more checks. No more bills. No more repairs. And definitely no college tuition. You and Janet can figure it out yourselves, goodbye. I hung up. The fancy frame holding the college fund announcement I had planned for Julie still sat on my desk, untouched. I picked up the frame, looked at it one last time, then dropped it in the trash. About 4 days after I spoke to Dad, the messages started. First, it was Aunt Megan, then Uncle Charles. After that, cousins I hadn't heard from in years. My phone buzzed nonstop with calls and voicemails, all saying the same thing. Emma, you can't do this to your sister. Families should stick together. Think about Julie's future. Clearly, Dad and Janet had been busy telling everyone their version of the story. In their version, poor Julie was being denied a chance at college by her rich, heartless stepsister. They didn't bother mentioning the part where Julie uninvited me from her party or told me I wasn't family. I stopped answering calls from numbers I didn't know. When someone from the family got through and mentioned Julie or college, I hung up right away. After a few days, I just turned my phone off completely, but they weren't finished. One morning, I opened my apartment door and found Janet and Julie standing there. Janet's finger was over the doorbell, ready to press it again and again until I answered. I shut the door in their faces. They came back the next day. And the next. Sometimes together. Sometimes one at a time. I started using the back entrance to my building and asked the doorman not to let them up. Then about a week after everything happened, I got a text from Julie. Emma, we need to talk. I know I overreacted about the party. It was stupid to take it all so seriously. The guest list thing was just a joke. Can't we just forget it and move on, please? I stared at the message for a while, then let out a short laugh. Now it was a joke. Now that there were consequences, suddenly everything was just a silly misunderstanding? I replied, you're right. It was a joke. And I thought it was hilarious, especially the part where I sent all the food to the homeless shelter. Funny, right? I really appreciated your sense of humor, so I decided to match it with my own. She didn't reply for a few minutes. Then she sent one word, please. That's when it hit me. Dad and Janet hadn't told her. They didn't tell Julie I had paid for the catering. They hadn't told her I was planning to pay for her college tuition either. I leaned back in my chair, thinking about how different things could have been if Julie had known the truth. If she knew I was planning to pay for her college, she probably would have acted sweet and loving, hugging me, saying thank you, and promising to be grateful forever. The party would have gone smoothly. I would have made my big announcement, and on the outside, everything would have looked perfect. But deep down, it would have all been fake. Just another act in the never-ending show called, Let's Pretend We're a Happy Family, as long as Emma keeps paying for everything. In a strange way, I owed Julie a thank you. Her moment of cruel honesty had torn down the fake image I'd been trying to hold on to for years. She showed me exactly what I meant to them. Not family, not even a friend, just someone with money. I blocked her number without replying. Now my bank account is doing better than ever, and I feel less stressed. No more surprise phone calls about broken dishwashers or overdue bills. No more guilt trips about helping family. No more pretending. 7 months after the party disaster, I heard the latest news from Lauren, who still talks to people in the old neighborhood. Apparently, Julie confronted Dad and Janet about her college money. She was sure they had savings set aside for it. They've been talking about her going to college for years. That's when they had to tell her the truth. They spent the money on a luxury SUV. 7 months ago, they thought I would pay for college, so they used their savings on themselves instead. And just like you'd expect from someone who grew up thinking the world revolved around her, Julie did not take it well. According to the neighbors, you could hear her yelling from 4 houses down. She demanded they take out loans to cover her tuition, but their credit was bad, and they couldn't get approved. So she told them to sell the car. Janet refused, saying she needed the SUV for her real estate work. Now Julie is staging what she calls a protest. She refuses to get a job or move out until they figure out how to pay for college. Julie now spends most of her time locked in her room, only coming out to start another fight about how her parents ruined her future. The neighbors say the arguments never stop. Julie keeps bringing up the car, and her parents are getting more and more desperate trying to explain why they spent her college money. The irony isn't lost on me. After all those years of Dad and Janet asking me for help with bills and repairs, it turns out they were saving up for a luxury car. Now Janet is going around complaining about how ungrateful Julie is, completely missing how similar it is to the way they treated me all those years. People who know the situation better than I do say, it's only a matter of time before my parents give in and sell the car. And honestly, I agree. Julie learned how to manipulate people from the best. She watched her mom do it to me for years. Now she's just using the same tricks on them. Guilt, drama, pressure. And I have no doubt she'll get what she wants. The car will be sold. She'll get her tuition money, and the pattern will continue. She's just like her mother. Why work for something when you can make someone else feel bad enough to give it to you? But none of it is my problem anymore. They can deal with the mess they made. As for me, my life is finally peaceful without them in it. My savings are growing now that I'm not constantly paying for their emergencies. I've started taking art classes, something I'd always wanted to try. And I'm planning my first real vacation in years. No more putting my dreams on hold to pay for theirs.